Richard, it's all you. This is about the safari taking place in Roscoe this May.
Okay, great. Thank you, guys. So like Chris said, we are having the Outdoor Writer Safari, May 19th to the 22nd. Did everybody get a chance to get the agenda, the latest agenda?
We've gotten the emails you're sending. At least
Okay.
I
Okay,
have.
if you got it, that way I know, that's all. But I can send the latest one out again if not. But anyway, it's going to be in Roscoe, New York, which has been nicknamed Trout Town. It's in the Catskills. It's basically not the home, but they call it the home of American fly fishing. There's question about whether it was really started in Pennsylvania or up in Maine or New York, but New York has taken the claim, so it's Trout Town, USA. But basically, we're going to start out that Thursday, the 19th, with our meet and greet at the Rockland house. And we can check in there. The meet and greet starts at 6 o'clock. The Rockland house, we have rooms there for $85 for 2 beds plus tax, and a single bed is $65 plus tax. So, I mean, you can't beat the prices for rooms there. And that night, Thursday night at 7 o'clock, Ed and Judy Putt are going to put on a PowerPoint about the artists who fish the Catskills. Now, Ed Van Putt was a DEC fisheries technician, worked for DEC for years and years and retired from DEC. He's written numerous books. I can actually show you a couple here. One is called The Beaver Kill, great book on the history of the Beaver Kill River. And the other one is Trout Fishing the Catskills, which if you become a member, or it used to be if you joined the member of the Catskill Fly Fishing Museum, you got one of those books. So Ed is going to be there with Judy, and they're going to have that PowerPoint that night talking about artists who fish the Catskills. So you have John Atherton, you have a lot of famous artists, painters, and all that have come up and fished and did outdoor scenes and nature photos or nature paintings and stuff. So that'll be Thursday night. Friday morning, we're going to leave that open to the guys that want to go turkey hunting. So you've got all morning long to turkey hunt. Glenn has set up with 5 guides in the Callicoon region to which is like a half-hour drive away to turkey hunt. And the son of the fellow that owns the Rockland house, his son-in-law or future son-in-law is willing to take somebody out, and he's going to try and get his buddy to actually film it, do a video of it. Now, this young guy has got his own business. He guides for turkeys. He guides for the Baxter House Fly Shop. He would be willing, he wants to charge, but if somebody wanted to do a float trip down the East Branch of the Delaware, you know, you could do an afternoon float trip for $300 with the guy if you wanted. I told him we'll see about that. I didn't lock in anybody or anything for that price, but so that's the Friday morning. There are 4 boats on the Pacton Reservoir. One will have a guide, so that two to a boat. So one person will be with a guide, and the other 3 boats kind of tag along, you know, follow what the other boats are doing. Probably going to be just paddling around, trolling for browns and bass or whatever on the Pacton Reservoir. Now, if you go fish the reservoir, because this is New York State DEP, Department of Environmental Protection property, which is basically the drinking water for New York City, you have to have a permit. And so you apply for that, and the website is on the agenda. But make sure you get that, because they will give you a ticket, because they will give you a card to carry with in your wallet, and you will get something to hang on your mirror. So if a DEP officer comes rolling in there and he sees your vehicle there without a tag hanging on the mirror, he's going to be walking up and down the beach wanting to know who it is, you know. I mean, a lot of this come from after 9/11 with threats of terrorism and all that in the watershed, and they want to make sure that water is crystal clear for drinking for the city. So that goes on. Roscoe Campground, which is just down from Junction Pool. Junction Pool is where the Willowee and the Little Beaver Kill join, right in the town of Roscoe. That's a famous Junction Pool. It's called BMAC. That's because supposedly there was a two-headed trout in there that would come up the main stem, and he got into Junction Pool and didn't know which river to go up. So he had two heads, and he was always trying to decide back and forth, up the Willowee or up the Little Beaver Cow. So there's a lot of history about that in there. But Roscoe Campground, which is just a little bit down from there, is offered a free day pass to fish. There's a beautiful pool out off the campground right there. I picked up like a 20-inch brown out there on Eastern Green Drakes 2 years ago. It's a really nice, they call them eddies out there. The pools, they're eddies, Ferdin's Eddy, and all these, they have all these famous names for it. The Ferdin family owned a big hotel there that catered to fishermen and all that. And actually the woman, Winnie Frieden, she married the Deddy, and the Deddy shop is where we're going to go in Livingston Manor for our tour. We originally had a river restoration tour scheduled, but that fell apart because the landowner didn't want anybody on his property, you know. So basically we decided to go with a little bit longer tour at Deddy's Flies. They're going to do a presentation on the family history, show us the shop and all that. And they're going to supply lunch that day for us. So they're going to have a 6-foot-long sub and all that. So, you know, we can eat right there. They have a nice little shelter set up, like a pavilion. We can eat right there. The Willowee River is right across the street. So if somebody wants to fish, they could fish right there. They're going to try and have a guide, if possible, available. I mean, that time of year is prime trout fishing. So they don't know if they're going to have somebody free because, you know, the guys are trying to make a living. But if they have a guide available, you know, they can show somebody fly casting and all that stuff and talk about it. Maybe take a newbie out on the river, you know. And if somebody wants to go fly fishing, I'll take you out too. I mean, I've got a couple rods. I've got all kinds of stuff and flies. You don't need a doggone thing, you know, other than waders, you know, and glasses, good sunglasses to protect your eyes from a fly or something. But I would take you out. So Friday afternoon, after the Deddy Fly Tour, again, we've got 3-4 hours open up to go fishing all afternoon. And depending on the water temperature, you know, if it starts getting 50 degrees or so, you're going to start getting some bugs coming off. So that's prime dry fly fishing, you know, maybe 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon right there. You know, that when the water warms up, hits that 50 degrees, all of a sudden, them fish go from subsurface feeding to getting emergers, which are basically mayflies hatching out on the surface, or the dry flies as they're floating along. So it's great. It's world famous dry fly fishing there. So Friday afternoon, or at 5 o'clock, we have a tour of the Roscoe Brewery, which is right next to the hotel. So, I mean, we could walk from the hotel over there, have a tour of the brewery. The brewmaster will be there till about 6 o'clock or so. So we'll get the tour first, and then we can have dinner and all that right there. And they're gonna give all our members a discount. So this is where we might want to have some kind of ID card with the writer's insignia on it or something, so they know that we get the discount. Friday evening, Bruce Concourse is a producer of a movie called Land of Little Rivers. He'd be willing to show it to us if we wanted. I have not committed because we wanted to leave one night open for the guys to hang out and do R&R. But that's a possibility if you guys are interested for a Friday night. Then Saturday morning, again, it would be turkey hunting time or fishing. Later in that morning, 10:30 or so, it's the Catskill Fly Fishing Museum, which is about 4 or 5 miles down the road going towards Livingston Manor. It's halfway there. It's right on the Willowee. There's a little narrow steel bridge right there, and it looks real sketchy. It looks like a footbridge, but if you have a small vehicle, you can drive across it. I'll probably have my van, so I'll park outside and just walk up. It's only a couple 100 yards or so, but they have a nice little gift shop right there. We can be a member and all that stuff. They have some fly rods. They have used books and all this stuff. A lot of people, you know, older guys, basically they pass away and they donate a lot of stuff to the museum. So they'll always bring in books and all kinds of stuff that they they sell to make money for the museum. But they have a museum there. And if you're familiar with fly fishing, Lee Wolf, who used to be in Washington County, he was on the Battenkill. He actually had a plane, and he would fly up into Newfoundland, and he started a salmon fishing camp up there. They have Lee Wolf's fly fishing desk and all that stuff, and his vest. He was the one that invented the fly fishing, the short fly fishing vest. They have numerous other displays there from the Darby family fly tires, the Deddies, guys on the Schoharie Creek, all that stuff, the whole Catskill region, all the fly tires displays. There's a bamboo rod making shop down in the basement where they actually have classes where you can make your own bamboo rod and all that. So a lot of history right there. There's movies, there's kiosks, there's fly samples, there's all kinds of neat stuff. A lot of writers have been down that way. If you're familiar with the Catskills, Sparse Gray Hackle, who was a member of the Bruce Fly Fishing Club, who wrote numerous books on fly fishing, was there. A.J. McLean lived up on the Little Beaver Kill for a while. So you had a lot of writers and painters and all these celebrities and wealthy entrepreneurs that would come up, the Rockefellers and all that always come up from New York City. It's only a 2-hour cruise up or so. So they would come up and they would fish the Catskills. So a lot of history right there. Destination Niagara is going to sponsor lunch for us at the museum. The museum said we can use their pavilion right there. It's on the grounds. They also have, if you really want to go on the cheap and you want to come back there and fish, they have a little camp set up with bunk beds. You know, basically you can go in there for $20 a night or something and flop. And in the morning you can go. I mean, they have a little kitchen. They have a few things right there, but they do it for groups like Boy Scouts or whatever if they want to come up and fish the river. But that's there. But we'll be doing the lunch there. After lunch, Joe Rist of Trout Towns is willing to put on a fly tying demo. He is back in Roscoe, so it's going back towards the hotel again. It's right downtown, so we can go park right there in town. And anybody wants to walk around, there's the Baxter Fly Fishing Shop. Orvis has a shop, the Beaver Kill Angler there, and Joe Rist shop is there. I'm a member of TU. I'm the president of the chapter up here. The Deddy family, the Deddy Fly Shop is the only business that supports TU financially and helps them out. So I kind of lean towards Deddy's, because of that. But Joe Rist is a great guy. I've known him and bought stuff from their shop and all that and patronized him that like that. And I have no problem with Orvis either. I've got all kinds of Orvis fishing rods and they're in town. And Orvis is partial because they're just over from the Battenkill, which was my home waters and my home chapter with the Adirondack TU chapter. So after Joe Rist, his little program on tying flies, people are free to go walk around town. There's a railroad museum there, a few other things. There's actually a distillery in town, 1 block away you can walk to if you want to, have drinks like that or whatever. And then you have the afternoon to fish again. So we're trying to leave that morning and that afternoon for fishing, and then pack some stuff in there, from 10 to 1 or so for some history tours and whatever. So Saturday evening, we'll be back at the Rockland house where we'll be staying. They have a nice restaurant right there and a meeting room, and we can be in the meeting room right there and have our dinner. And the New York State Crossbow Association is sponsoring that meal. So we'll be all set right there. And I believe it's Steve Zahurik will be doing our speaker that night, and we'll be all set right there. And then, so that'll probably go to like 7 or 8 o'clock, and then you're free for the night again, whether you want to walk over to the Rockland Brewery or down the street. There's another little gin mill that's got $2 bush, and or stay in the room an hour, whatever you want to do, it's free and easy. So, and then Sunday, basically we depart. So, but I mean, I love to fly fish. And I love fly fishing history with reels from Pfluger Company and all these different, and Orvis and Mary Orvis, Marbury, and all these different history of these flies and all that. So, I mean, when you go down there, if you like history, I mean, there's some great stories down there to write about, great things in the fly shops. And like I say, the Deddy family is the oldest fly shop in the country. I mean, they've been going for almost 90 years, the family tying flies. So, I mean, Joe Fox is the grandson. It was Walt and Winnie Deddy. Their daughter Mary was tying flies, and now her son Joe Fox has taken over. The shop is in Livingston Manor where we have our tour, and they're going to sponsor lunch, and great people. So, any questions? I kind of ran fast and babbled, so I don't know if you got it all. So
Yeah, Rich, the rate that we're gonna pay, you said it was 85 for 2 bed, 65 for 1.
yes,
Is that a special rate for us, or is that their standard rate?
I don't really know. I think it may have been their standard rate. They did raise it because when I messaged them to verify the rate, it had gone up, but they kept this rate for us.
Okay, the reason I was asking is Teresa and I are definitely coming.
Yeah.
And we're actually thinking of maybe coming up for a week and just, on either side of the event. So we're gonna be looking to rent rooms on our own outside
Sure.
of the event.
Sure. There's some really neat places there. Some old, way back when the brook trout fishing was really popular, the turn of the century. I'm talking 1890s or so. There were no roads coming up, so people would take the train from New York City, they'd come up the valley of the Esopus up into Phoenicia, or they would come up into Livingston Manor on the train. And that's why there's a train museum there. But when they came up, they would basically take a stagecoach and they would go and they would stay in a farmer's house and they would fish for brook trout. That was all brook trout water, and everything down below in the bigger beaver kill pre-reservoirs was mostly smallmouth bass. But once the reservoirs got built and you had the discharge from the bottom of the reservoir, that cold water made the East Branch, the West Branch, and a good section of the Delaware into a trout fishery. So now when they used to come up, these guys would come up for fishing, they would stay at these houses, and some of the houses are still there. So, I mean, you could go into an old house, which is right next to the Sunoco gas station. There's a place right there, a little motel. There's the Baxter house that rents out rooms. There's a couple other little campgrounds and motels in the area. So you have a choice. And it's a busy time of year, but I've never gone down there where you couldn't find a place to stay.
Yeah, because I probably after tonight, I'm gonna get in touch. Now, are you booking our time or do we book direct?
I would say we'd have to book.
You're gonna book through NYSOA?
I guess I don't know how Dan, how would you normally do this? We lost Dan. Yeah, this is my first safari, so I don't know how you normally do this in the past.
Okay, I can answer that, Rich. Basically, you set a deadline for your reservations and stuff. And then once you get the reservations in, you go ahead and tell the hotel or whatever it is that we need X number of beds and rooms, etc.
Yeah, we've locked in 7 rooms right now.
Okay, so yeah.
You actually, Leo, I think you sent them a deposit on that.
Right. So yeah, basically that's what happens. Everybody will send their reservation to you. And then you just tell them, we have this. And like we mentioned before, if you should have more than the number there, we'll quickly scratch it someplace like the campground or something like that. But yeah, all the reservations will go through you. That's why we're able to get the tax exempt number. Obviously, I'll have the old checkbook, and you just tell them, and then when the dust settles, I'll write the check for that.
Yeah, so we have 7 rooms with 2 beds, so I mean, we got 14 guys and then 2 rooms with 1 bed. So we should be all right for 15, 16 people,
Now, Another
Oh.
question, when you said one bed, what size beds are those, you know?
I believe they're double beds.
Doubles, okay.
Yeah.
And hey, guys, I've been having trouble with my Wi-Fi here. I'm on my cell phone now. If you look at the registration that's online, it'll explain everything. And it's pretty much the way it normally is. I'm going to handle the reservations, actually. My Wi-Fi is starting to come back up now, so I'll switch over after I comment here. But yeah, we have 7 doubles and rooms with 2 beds in them. So 14 guys or however we stack them with couples. We have a couple of single rooms. I'm going to grab one of them. I think there's one more. The campground can take extras there. We actually, Leo and I spoke with the people at the campground on Saturday. We ran into them, Rich, out at the show in Turning Stone. And so we may be hearing from tourism, hopefully, on something perhaps for Thursday night. So we'll see if they come through. But anyway, there is limited accommodations, and that's not unusual for a safari. So everyone needs to, if you're really serious about coming. The other thing is the price is for 3 nights. We can't really do a 1 night or a 2 night or whatever. If you can, if you want, but the price is for 3 nights because the hotel rooms were in demand, and we can't really screw around with them saying we want 2 nights here, 1 night there, because as it was, they wanted to make sure we wanted one of the rooms that we wanted because they have people calling them wanting to book that weekend. As Rich said, it's a pretty busy time of year and it's in demand. So if we want those rooms, we have to book them and we have to pay for them.
Okay, so I can
How many of you guys fly fish?
I do it badly.
One?
I can tell you, Rich, if you've got, I'm gonna send my reservation in tomorrow or Friday.
Yeah.
But if you put a double room aside for my wife and I'd appreciate it.
Okay,
I'm a fly fisherman.
Dan's handling that, so.
Okay,
This is Peter Brooks. I'm a fly fisherman. So I'm interested in the fly fishing stuff.
Okay.
I plan to fly fish. Although I may fly fish when Trace and I are up there before or after the safari.
I plan on going up a little bit early myself, just to make sure everything's in cohesive and to get out on the water. There's some great historic places up there. There's a Theodore Gordon pool up the little Beaver Kill, which is where Theodore Gordon used to fish a lot. And if you keep on going up to Turnwood, that's where AJ McLean was staying in a camp. And that's all a Little Beaver Kill. That's still all brook trout mainly up above.
Okay.
So, but a lot of that's
Recording in progress.
But I've been as soon as I heard you were planning this, I've always wanted to fish up there.
Yeah.
I've never, gotten an excuse to go up, and this is one of the safaris I'm looking forward to more than many of them, and I've enjoyed all of the ones I've been to.
If you got a 6-weight rod, that's perfect for it.
I got 2 5s.
Yeah, that'll 5 works. Yeah, 5 will work. If not, I'm gonna bring a couple extra 6-weight with me. So,
Richard, if someone doesn't fly fish, is there spinning options up there, or are these only fly fishing rivers?
I don't know because
I do.
I
You
only
can
fly
spin fish.
I would think you could.
It's just artificial. It may, if there are restrictions, it would be on artificial baits only.
There are some areas that are no kill.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you take a spinning rod and no kill, they might get out the torch and the pitchforks, just like they don't like anybody going down in rafts up there. They don't like that rubber hatch,
Gotcha.
But
Yeah,
if you want to learn how to fly fish, I can teach you how to fly fish too.
Well, I know like David Taylor's from Long Island. He's coming up. I know he likes to fish, but he doesn't fly fish. He might want to try fly fishing, but I wasn't sure if it's like I had told him we'll bring some spinning rods just in case, but I wasn't sure if it was strictly like a fly fishing zone or not. But
well, I think if you fish up on the reservoir there, the one he's talking about where you got to
the reservoir would be
Yeah.
with that you could go out because you're going to be trolling along in a small rowboat, just roll along and trolling with a spinner.
Well, just to explain that, a friend of mine has a second home up in Downsville where the Pacton Reservoir is, and he shares it with a few other guys. So he is able to be up there on Friday, and he'll serve as a guide. And the other boats that he makes available will just be available on your own. On the second day, he won't be there, so we'll all be on our own who fish there. And you said DEC, I think you just may have misspoke earlier, but it's New York City DEP.
DEP.
And that's where you would, the Department of Environmental Protection.
Right.
And that's where you get your permit, and that's a free permit. And I think it's good for 5 years. So, and you can just print it online. But the fishing actually would be trolling for good sized brown trout, but it would also be casting for smallmouth bass. So it'd be your option as to what you want to do. Of course, the smallmouth would be catch and release at that time of the year. As far as the turkey hunting goes, I belong to a club in Calhoun. We have several hundred acres. A friend of mine who's pretty much runs the club has recruited some other guides. Some people will be hunting on our club property, and other people will be hunting on other properties in Calhoun, all with great potential for turkey hunting. And one of the guys is kind of infirm. He's had some physical problems, and he has a great blind pretty close to where you drive to, and it overlooks a food plot. And if somebody like Ed Noonan, for instance, or somebody who's somewhat limited at this point in their walking, that would be a perfect situation for them. So I just want you to be aware of that. And I'm inviting all of the guides for both the bass fishing and the turkey hunting to our meet and greet on Thursday evening. Right. So they'll get to meet the guys that sign up and women that are going to sign up and fish with them or hunt with them. And they'll be able to then make any kind of plans for meeting the next morning.
Hey, Glenn, yeah, I'm definitely interested in doing some turkey because I'm a New York resident, and I hate to say this, but I've never even tried to hunt a turkey in the state of New York. I do all my hunting in Connecticut, Maine. So I'm looking forward to that. The guides, are they going to be like calling for you, or I'd much rather do my own calling. I just kind of need like the walk 100 yards, make a left at the big rock type of deal. Will that be available also?
It may or may not be, because we don't want people tripping over each other. So I think the guides are going to know where the other guys are going. So it would probably be best, but these are not professional guides. They're good turkey hunters and just good Samaritans. They want to take us out, and they'll do whatever you want. So if you just want to make sure you don't get lost, in this new terrain, but you want to do the calling yourself, I'm sure you can work that out.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Colin Tallman, if you go on Facebook and look him up, I mean, he's got a regular business doing this, but he loves it. His father loves it, and they're the guys that run the hotel. And it's a freebie, to take somebody out. Like I say, I mean, if they can get the buddy out there to video it, you'll be on his PR for his business.
And Chris, as far as hunting in New York, the property that some of the guys will be hunting is where I got my first and second turkeys ever.
Awesome. Yeah, I just don't have opportunity in New York. That's why. Like, I'm going up for the first 4 days of the Connecticut season, and I just I just don't have places upstate to go. So I'm like looking forward to that part of this, is to do something different,
Yeah.
Well, it's beautiful country up there.
Sure is.
Beautiful country. So
well, I mean, Richard, this sounds awesome. I think I want to thank you for putting all this together. Like I said, I'm super excited. I'm going to send out tomorrow, or maybe even tonight, if this uploads quick enough, I will I'll put this on our YouTube channel, and I will send this out to the membership along with the registration form, so we can start getting people signed, because I don't believe this has gone out yet to any of the members, just the small group of us that have been working out the details. So I will make sure to send that out either tonight or first thing in the morning once I upload this video. But
yeah, it's on the website. It's posted to the website.
Yeah, I'll share a link to the website, and I'll share a link to this video just so people could maybe hear it a little bit more and get excited about it. But yeah. And Stephen, I've got oysters. There'll be oysters. I'm bringing back. I already put in the call, have at least a half a bushel of oysters coming up there. So I'll be doing some shucking at some point. We'll find a place to pop open some oysters. So, and if I can get my hand on some hard shell clams, I'll bring that as well.
Is there some information going to be coming out about this, the stuff that Richard went over? Because I have a feeling I'm not on your email list.
No, this hasn't gone out to the membership yet.
Okay.
This is, yeah, so this, like I said, I'm going to record this recording that we're doing tonight. I'm going to put it on the YouTube. I'll send that out, and then I'm also going to send a link that has all the, because it went up on the website, but unless, we haven't sent out an email to the membership. We were just working out all the details, and we were hoping this would be a great way to like push it forward and launch it, and then get people excited, and then start.
Understand.
Yeah,
If you
there's a
go to the website-
four-page agenda.
Go to the
With everything on
website.
it.
Go to the website. Okay, that's
If
the
you
place
go to
to.
the web, if you go to
Actually, I'm
the
gonna-
website, there's a
I'm gonna
membership
share the,
there.
And the
share it right
registration
now,
form's
so-
up there too, right?
So here's the, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So yeah, so if you go, he's got it under, if you go to the home page, it's right on the home page.
Okay.
Just there, download, and there it is.
Yeah.
And this is the form, the registration form that needs to be filled out and sent in by May 1st. And
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
I think this will be great. I'm looking so forward to this.
Okay. Great. Yes. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Anything else to add, Richard? Are we good? Or?
No, I think it'll be a nice little 3 days there, and I mean, you get out of it what you put into it, and like I say, the history is there. And I mean, if you're a history buff and you like fishing, I mean, you can't beat this place. I mean, it's phenomenal.
Richard, there's one thing I'd ask. I hope you won't be hurt or insulted if people that go out turkey hunting or fishing don't get back in time for the activities that you scheduled for late morning.
Hey, that's why we try to keep it at 10:30, 11 o'clock. Because I know if you're turkey hunting, you're in the woods at 5 or so. And I was hoping that, most guys would be out of there by 10 or so. And I told everybody for the meals at Denny's and whatever, you're probably looking at 12, 15 guys, so we'll see what happens, Whatever
You just
works.
got to make it happen right off the bat, Glenn.
Yep.
Sunrise turkey.
Yeah. Hey, if you know how to turkey hunt, you should have them in the bag by 6:30 and be back home drinking beer at 7. Not a problem.
Well, so again, this was great, Richard. Thank you so much for all your hard work putting this together. I'm sure I know this is not easy to do. So thank you so much for doing that.
Well, it was a lot of work, and I learned a lot doing it, but it was good. And it's something I believe in, this thing with the fly fishing in that area. So I'm happy to promote it down there, and the writers. I mean, it's a writer's haven down there, where a lot of writers wrote about that area, famous writers. I mean, like I say, Sparsbury Hackle and AJ McLean and all them old outdoor writers, so.
Richard, all this work will pay off when you plan our safari next year.
I'll be gone by then. So cool.